Warning, the following content may not align with some of the views of the Sensitivity Police. Be advised that we are not professional advisors nor experts in most of the topics we discuss. We're just a couple of brothers with jokes and opinions. So lighten the fuck up.
I often in my, I guess I call it a spiritual journey, I'm often sitting with myself wondering if any of it's true. I have so much unrequited doubt that it just doesn't make sense. And because I'm always thinking of everything as it exists and that's just is what it is, then other religions therefore begin to hold their own merits. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so then who gets to be right about any of it? And so, like, I know that the gifts of the spirits are therefore without repentance, so therefore salvation can't be taken away from you once you're covered by the blood of Jesus or whatever for the first time. You know what I'm saying? He don't take that salvation away. But at the same time, if I all of a sudden be like, I don't know if I believe, is he going to just be like, hey, I ain't going to let you in because your ass wasn't fully in belief. You dig what I'm saying? That's always
look what he
been
did with
thing.
Thomas. Look what he did with Thomas, bro.
He had Thomas, the doubting Thomas, who actually hung out with Jesus straight up. So he was like, listen, yeah, that's what's always funny about the stories in the Bible and whatnot, because there's always, like, at some point, characters that end up being relatable throughout, you know what I'm saying, time. But then again, you'd be like, but wait a minute. They took hella books out the Bible, and the Bible ain't the only thing. And then you also got Quran out there, you know what I'm saying, who speaks a lot of good shit. Then you also got, like I said, something about Buddhists before, whatever. You got the fucking Zoroasters, you got the Norse, you know what I'm saying, you got the Greek gods, you got the Romans, you know what I'm saying.
I'm glad you said this.
Africa that had 1,000 different types of ways to worship the goddamn sun, moon, stars, grass, wind, all that shit. And so
this can be a nice little segue into what one of the topics Brian originally wanted to bring.
You are now tuned in to Brothers Having Breakfast.
Me and Brian were having a conversation the other day, and he asked me if I believe.
Y'all forever talking behind my back. I don't like it.
So, well, we've known each other longer, so I apologize.
Shut up, Jimmy. Jimmy, I'm the better friend. It's not a competition.
I mean, okay, no, you're the better version of your friendship with Brian.
What does it even mean, Jimmy?
I mean,
what does it even mean, Jimmy?
Ain't
no better version of me.
Whatever
I'm always the greatest. I'm always great.
You're the greatest Addison that you can be. Congratulations.
I'm the greatest Addison that can exist.
Okay, for sure. At the end of the day, we were having a conversation.
Period. There's
that led me. I'm not going to go into detail. Long story short, you asked me
get there, Jimmy.
I would try if you would stop interrupting.
I've been drinking, and you're taking a long time. Well, you like to add a whole bunch of words before your point.
How about you mute yourself, reload your web shooters, and let
That's not going to work, Jimmy. I can't.
Shoot it through, Jimmy. Shoot it. What's up?
Hurry it up. Brian asked me about, do I believe in clones, this, that, and we started talking about some deep stuff. And the conversation of Marvel got brought up. And I was
hold on a minute. What about them clones, though?
We can get into that. Yeah, we can get into that. We can get into that. So how you brought up
that clone work?
How you brought up all the different religions and stuff? I believe with all of my heart, and I believe this to the core of my being, that aliens are real, that they are really angels and demons, that the devil would never be able to convince anybody to serve him over God if he didn't have any type of power to offer. If you look when Jesus was tempted by the devil, you can go read the scriptures yourself.
Yeah, the devil has power, but he's scrawny and whatnot. Yeah. So but he's also the angel of light and music. So, I mean, the devil's a powerful motherfucker.
Absolutely.
He's got the prince. He's the prince of the powers of the air. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, principalities of powers. The man got some skills.
In Genesis 6, the sons of God saw that the women of men were beautiful, and they came into them.
Come on, you talking about Nephilim?
There we go. So I believe with all of my heart that Zeus, Ra, Hercules, all of these ancient, mythical, whatever you want to call them.
You're trying to say they all existed?
They all for sure existed. And I think that they're all fallen angels, even the Anunnaki.
Hold on a minute, though. But see, you just like most Christians, and that means that everything that you're saying means that they are, therefore, demonic. Correct?
All right. Well, check this out.
Hold on a minute. I'm asking yes or no.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
See, that's the thing that I always find as a bit
Convenient.
difficult. No, also convenient, but difficult when I try to reconcile a lot of things, because ultimately in Christianity, anything that is not Christian is therefore demonic.
Okay, so let me give you another perspective, because I know you grew up in the church.
But see, here's the thing.
Hold on. Let Addison finish what he's saying.
There was hella religion or what have you prior to the written word. There was hella motherfuckers that was doing hella motherfucking shit in Africa long before, you know what I'm saying, the
Kumbaya.
Hebrew Christ was introduced. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they are. I haven't done supreme amounts of research into a whole lot of things or what have you. But I do know that Christianity, as its most basic written form, contains within it a lot of different information that existed throughout a lot of different other religions and what have you. Now, my dominant religion is Christianity. To me, I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I've been baptized. I've spoken in tongues and the nines. But at the same time, I know that Horus exists. I know that these other cats exist, and their stories, while written prior, have shown to manifest themselves often in the story that is told in the Christian Bible.
Supposedly,
not to mention how many
prior.
steps, or what do you mean?
Because you just said yourself about a minute and a half ago,
ISIS,
you haven't
and
researched
Horus
this stuff.
and Ra.
This nigga gave the time.
Zoroaster and them had opposing as far as a light and a dark. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of different religions.
But does Egypt
have a whole lot of the same elements that
does
show
Egypt
themselves
predate
suddenly.
the early Hebrews?
Yes,
they do. Okay, I didn't know that.
Do the Egyptians?
I don't believe it.
You said do the Egyptians predate the early Hebrews?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, well, think about this. Where did Moses grab his people from?
Yeah, but he had to go and.
When was that? Hold on. Who wrote the Torah? Moses, right or wrong?
Moses.
All right. Where did he come from?
He was raised in Pharaoh's quarters.
Where was Pharaoh's quarters?
Orchard Manor.
In fucking Egypt. So if Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, and he was housed in Egypt for a gang of years before he led the Hebrews from Egypt, that means the story of the Hebrews and whatnot existing where they were in whatever you call Palestine, Judah, and all that extra other space,
but
whatever,
Moses
coming down to Egypt and then leaving from what?
Moses wasn't the first Jew.
I didn't say that he was. What I'm saying is he wrote the first 5 books of the Bible.
But he wasn't there for the very
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers.
Okay, but Jimmy's going back. So, Jimmy, you saying you going
what
back?
What I'm saying is, if he wrote those books and he was housed in Egypt for a gang of his life, where he was raised from a baby to god daggone near being Pharaoh, before he was like, you know what, I need to let my people go.
Abraham
what Jimmy's saying.
Listen,
Abraham predates him. Sure.
Abraham predates Egypt.
Sure.
Because before Egypt, there was Babylon.
No, I don't know about that.
I'm telling you.
Sure.
Modern day Iraq is Babylon. Samaria.
I disagree. I think it's more close to Persia, but all right.
Well, Iraq is Persia.
All right.
Google it.
Check that. Google it. Yeah, hold
on. No. Hey, Middle East. I'm with you. Keep going.
No. Google it.
The Persian Empire was mad large, but go ahead.
All right, that part. So you're talking about Moses. Yeah, that's great. Moses, a lot of before there was written word.
The first 5 books, fam.
But do you know how he got it?
Let Jimmy finish.
Do you know how he got it? It all went through oral tradition first, and you know this. It all went through oral tradition first.
He got that shit from his mother, who was acting like she was a midwife. You know what I'm saying? Who was a midwife, who was acting like, you know what I'm saying, he was just an orphan. Remember? You know what I'm saying?
There are I don't know the number of years, but there are easily hundreds. I'm not going to say thousands.
More than, I would say. There was a few generations from Abraham to Moses.
Exactly. And that was well before Egypt. So the Hebrews predate
that's
Egypt.
That's the thing. I don't think that that's before Egypt.
You can
I
think
think
what you
that
want.
Egypt existed. No, what I'm saying is, you do the math. Egypt existed at the same time Abraham did, because Abraham was just in a different location, because the Hebrews had to go to Egypt. They had to be captured unto Egypt. They had their own and were taken away, you know what I'm saying, to Babylon, and so on and so forth. Those are things that happened. Those places were already in space. They just hadn't gone there. Egypt was already there, fam.
Was it?
Is there
Yeah,
history to
because
prove
the
this?
math of it, the math of it has to be. Now, if you want to say you go back to Genesis where fucking Adam and Eve are there, then no, maybe Egypt's not there. But if you go to as far as ahead as where Abraham shows up, where he's got Isaac and Jacob, man, while they out there in their space where they really don't take up that much room after Noah, yeah, Egypt's already there. Egypt's already there. Kemet,
So,
or whatever you want to call it, those spaces already exist by the time Abraham shows up.
but okay. So moving forward, Jimmy, how was we tying this?
Well, I thought we was going to tie this into, you know what I'm saying, whether or not you find biblical references inside of, what's it called?
Marvel. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, no, for sure. Well, that goes all the way. That's what I said. That was already established with the idea that they're all fallen angels. So the idea, like you look at the Tesseract, that's found in the Kabbalah. There's a lot of Kabbalah mysticism throughout Marvel.
There's a lot of all kinds of mysticism throughout Marvel.
Exactly.
I was talking to B about this earlier. He kind of brought it up and tried not to, but I was like, yo, you got to consider who are the writers of these things. The writers of these things follow certain religions throughout the world or what have you. So you're going to always find, like, just like when you look at the laws of this nation, they're based in Christian ideals. You dig what I'm saying? As far as, like, you know what I'm saying, damage and reparance and all of that, everything's based in Christian ideals. That's why they say this is a Christian nation, the U.S. Now, surely it doesn't always, what's the word I'm looking for? Live up to those ideals, but those ideals still exist, and those are what framed most of what it is that we have.
I think it was a
most
farce.
of what we have is based in those ideals and framed therefore that
To
way.
an extent.
Those, because they are ideals and humans are not, or while humans are idealistic, they're full of flaws. They won't reach those ideals always. You know what I'm saying? Because we're bred to be imperfect. We are imperfect. That's just how it is.
So Jimmy, why do you say to an extent?
To an extent, I'm glad he said that, because we can sit here and get all rattled about Abraham, Egypt. One of us is right, one of us is wrong. Maybe we're both right, maybe we're both wrong. What we do know is all of that is information that's been passed down to us that we don't really, it's all like third, fourth, fifth hand. What's not third, fourth, fifth hand, which is a lot more recent, 1700s, 1800s, early 1900s, you look at Manly P. Hall, who was a prominent writer for the Freemasons, who also introduced a lot of people to the Kabbalah. You look at Albert Pike, who was a 33rd degree Mason, who wrote Morals and Dogma. My point is, remember when you said earlier that you doubt? I doubt a lot of times too. And I believe wholeheartedly because of the experience I've had with the Holy Spirit, because of my relationship with God. That's the majority of the reason why I believe, but I find myself doubting. But it's easy for me to look at history and say, okay, a lot of the people that run the world from the 1800s and on, we can talk about Adam Weishaupt, we can talk about the Jesuits, we can talk about all of them. They consider a common enemy, and that's Christ. You look at Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma, which is like the Freemasonry Bible. He wrote that in like 1870s, maybe. He's coined the phrase Luciferianism.
So it's like you missing something. No, you missing something.
Let him finish his point, though.
Because he's going. He's going.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
go ahead. Cook it up.
All right, I got
you. Hey, so wrap it up.
No, I said cook it up. Go ahead.
Apparently, I didn't. Right?
It's in moonlight.
So at the end of the day, why is it that the most powerful people over the last couple hundred years are Luciferians? Why is it that the most powerful people in the past couple hundred years are so anti-Christ? Not the antichrist. There's many of them. Why are they so anti-Christ? And it's all throughout their publications. Now, you don't see a lot of it now.
Question that you want answered?
I mean, it's kind of rhetorical.
I was just waiting because I really wanted to get a part in there.
Go ahead.
But once again, it's the same reason that you find inside of American law and inside of American media and inside of our comic books, Christian ideals. Because
but that's why I said they're a farce.
The dominant religion, my guy. And so if you want to attack the very thing that is at the core of all people and stand in opposition, one of the most clear things to use is the very thing that the most people believe in. It's the dominant religion. If we all was out here believing in Igalia, the savior of all Zupan, then I'm betting that the Masons that you're talking about and them super powerful people or what have you would have chosen, therefore, Zupan and Igalia and all of them. You dig what I'm saying?
So that further proves my point that the best way...
it's a matter of choosing the one that's going to hit the most.
Well, it just goes back to Marvel, too, with the Secret Invasion. I'm almost finished with that. And it's at the end of the day...
What do you mean you're almost finished with Secret? You talking about the show?
Yeah. So at the end of the day...
I've been skipping episodes. You don't say shit.
I won't.
Man.
The premise is...
I haven't seen episode 6.
I'm not current, so
it's not out.
Fam.
I'm not going to give no spoilers, but the premise is understood by just the name of the show, Secret Invasion. So it's like at the end of the day, just goes back to maybe like 3 minutes ago when I started to say that to an extent, and Brian had asked me, and I used the word a farce, because they say we're built on Christian values, and a lot of it's true, obviously. But look at, everybody tries to deny Freemasonry, this and that. Well, why is Washington, D.C. laid out Masonically? Why are all these things?
Freemasonry?
Not you. I'm not saying you are. But it goes to my further point. Like me and Brian were talking the other day about, and Brian, don't say his name. I'm not going to say his name. But a prominent, prior educational figure in this city had made a post about how, people that believe in conspiracy theories are just morons. And I'm like, well, okay, what about Gary Webb? Was Gary Webb just a conspiracy theorist? Because we now know that Iran-Contra was true. So at the end of the day,
thing about that though, Jimmy, here's a bag. That man made a post about what they personally believed, right? Why would you let that affect you in any way whatsoever?
That's another argument.
Why would him speaking into the abyss make you feel the need that you must speak the opposite?
Because it's very, very frustrating.
Why does it frustrate you, Jimmy?
COVID.
Why does it frustrate you, Jimmy?
COVID was the greatest play theater that we've ever seen in our life.
Why does it frustrate you?
Because I care about truth. I care about...
Okay, if you care about truth, Jimmy, Jimmy, and you realize that truth, there's no such thing. But even if you care about truth, once you have chosen what truth is for you, why does it matter what other people believe?
There can't just be a truth for the individual. There has to be an absolute truth.
No, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as an absolute truth.
It goes back to what Addison said. The receiver receives the message how they choose to receive it, regardless if it's true or not.
Kind of. Look, there's reality. It is, dude. Your reality their reality.
But you can say that. But this is the thing, dude, because it goes back to the conversation we had about the term Uncle Tom. No matter how many times people use it, in most cases, they're using it wrong. And even if you explain to them,
for sure.
Even if you, that's not what I'm saying is, even if you explain to them that they're using it wrong, they're still going to go with that. Same thing with the term alpha wolf.
You know what that does, B? You know what that does? That creates the Mandela effect.
It does.
It does.
Because I'll bullshit you not. I've been seeing people talk about the Mandela effect on a couple of things. Because, it comes up a lot on the internet. But they was like, you know how the cornucopia is supposed to be behind the Fruit of the Loom thing? That's not. I remember, I'll be honest with you. I remember specifically the Fruit of the Loom commercials and how the little guys would be dressed up in the fruit outfits, no less. Like they were like, there was a grape one. There was a dude in a banana outfit, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Like they were dressed up as fruit and they were the Fruit of the Loom commercials. I remember there not being a cornucopia for those. I remember thinking at one point, wasn't there a cornucopia? And I went and looked and I was like, no, there's not. I remember the cornucopia was on like Chiquita Banana maybe or something else. There is a cornucopia logo that is out there, but it wasn't the Fruit of the Loom one. I also remember a couple of other things that they were saying. They was like,
Oh
"No,
yeah, they
this
try to
didn't
say
used to
Sinbad
exist."
wasn't in Shazam, and that's a fucking lie. Of course he was.
What I remember, me personally, was that they were making a Shazam movie at the same time as Kazam came out, and the Sinbad one, I feel like it never got to materialize. I can't fully
I remember
remember
seeing it, so I know like they're like
was
that's
like-
but Jimmy, we don't believe you. You need more people.
I don't care.
So here's the thing. What I'm saying
You ain't
is
shit.
a lot of the Mandela effect
like,
stuff
you
is
saying
really
that
a
you don't
matter of
believe me?
people's.
And
Yeah, I
I
don't
need
believe
enough
you, Jimmy.
people just proved your
Yeah.
point.
I know, Jimmy. It was
Justify
irony.
your
I was
point.
literally using irony
Okay,
to make points. Catch up.
Congratulations. Well,
No,
it's hard to
not my
catch
fault.
up
You're
when
too slow. I gotta
you're
come back
not
for you.
only in a different
For you,
lane.
Jimmy.
You're
All right,
like
fine.
Crash
All right, come on.
Bandicoot, bro.
All
Like
right.
we're over
Are you
here playing
ready?
Spyro. You're like Crash
Are you done?
Bandicoot. You're in a whole.
Was that your
other, like,
best?
you're smashing boxes and shit.
Is that it?
What the fuck?
You are like
Was that
Crash
it?
Bandicoot.
You really
I'm
are.
like Crash Bandicoot while you're playing Spyro. Was that it?
Amazing. No,
All
no,
right.
because that's kind of almost the same. So that's the
It
terrible
is,
comparison.
basically. They're both platform games, so on
I
and so
didn't hear
forth.
the
blah,
other
blah, blah.
game. They were both equally fun.
Well, what I mean is, while we're flying forward,
forward,
you're over here spinning in circles, collecting boxes.
You should have used
You
more
didn't get
like Crash.
forward,
You
Jimmy.
should have used more like Sparrow and maybe Sonic, because Sonic was kind of just one dimensional. Or you could have used Mario 64.
No, Mario 64
And
was
Sonic.
fire. You ain't never dropped that penguin off the ledge. That shit was
Yeah,
great.
but what he's saying is you can go. You have the option of taking your conversations in multiple direction because of your with age comes wisdom type
that what
thing.
that
And,
is?
yeah, man. Because if you put it up on a tier, if we was to add Elliot to this conversation, now we all look dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right
Or
about
Star
that. I don't
Reader.
really try. I try not to. I try
Star
not to
Reader.
talk when the motherfuckers is really going.
Yeah, I mean that's what
But
I'm
every
saying.
now and again, I'll jump in. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, let me get some, and they'll be like, no, young blood, you stupid.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
you don't know that
you
part
was
yet.
right. I was like, you was right.
Yeah,
Good
that's
thing I
this
didn't say I
level,
was
yeah.
right.
So look, this is another thing. This is another thing I thought about earlier when y'all was talking about the history of y'all was just throwing out history, but basically the Bible of Abraham or whatnot. How come we don't have the US has no fucking history?
The U.S. does have history.
Yeah.
Does
What do you
it?
mean?
What do you
There is all
Does it?
kinds of U.S. history, but it only goes back but so far. You
Bro.
talk about what history exists before the U.S. exists.
Yes,
It's what was eradicated
you have nothing.
by the U.S.
Well, the winners write
You-
the history, bro.
by the U.S.
You
You know
mean
what I'm
to
saying?
tell
All
us?
the
You mean to
history
tell
from
me
before.
you had Mayans making shit right down the street, but nothing? You got fucking
If you
pyramids
look them
in
out,
every
nigga, the
continent.
shits are here. What are you talking
Nothing
about?
in the U.S.?
We've got all of this shit here. We've got
Where do you learn about
pyramids.
it? Where did you
We've
learn
got-
that?
We've got pyramids. We've got mounds.
Where did you
We've got
learn that?
hidden civilizations inside the Grand Canyon.
Bro, we
Nigga,
learned about
did
the
you learn
Mayans
that?
and the Incans.
America
and
had the
The
giants.
Mayans is not U.S. Where did you learn? Who have you learned about anybody as far as it comes to like Rome, fucking the Mayans? Where is any of that type of significant
the fuck
history
out.
in the U.S.?
Wiped out. Wiped
So
out.
that's 10th grade history.
Jimmy,
Wiped
name
out.
somebody that was around with the Mayans in the U.S. What was here?
The natives.
You had pyramids in
what
fucking
we called-
Egypt.
No,
Okay,
listen,
no,
man.
okay, I get what you're
Look,
saying. I
man,
get what you're saying.
You
I get what
literally
you're saying.
live down the street from Shawnee Park.
Yeah.
What do you think the Shawnee who were, man?
What the fuck were the Shawnee? Some
They were
Indians?
Native fucking Americans.
You mean to tell me everything
No,
over here was
it's a
Native,
Native American
American?
name.
No, man. Black people. Now, look, man. You think that
The natives,
Egypt, look,
who were here. Listen, there have been they found shit that was from Africa in these United States more than
Yes.
once. They found
1,000%.
things that were from Asia
Name
in these
one.
United States more than once. Just
Oh,
I don't know,
baby.
like
Name
fucking
one.
corns and shit. I don't know what the fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, you don't know, but you can name the people. You can name. You can off gate be like, "Oh, there's pyramids in Egypt."
the statues.
Yeah,
they
okay,
have
okay.
pyramids.
The snake mound in Ohio.
A what mound?
The snake mound.
I mean, it just
What
makes
the hell
no
is a snake
sense.
mound?
Like, you know
It's
how
a
powerful
super
Egypt
long
was?
ass effigy of a fucking snake that is literally built into the ground. Then you also got the Grand
That came
Canyon
from
with
where?
It came from motherfuckers who was here before fucking Americans
Who
were
were
here.
they?
They were the natives.
No,
What they called the
man.
Indians.
I'm
They
not
came in
believing
red
that this
to
whole.
black.
I'm not believing that this whole fucking
came from red
continent
to
was
black.
just full of idiots.
This whole
was
fucking
it.
continent
Well,
was
you
full of
also gotta
people.
consider-
Period. Period. People.
That part.
The fucking Norse came over and it was like, there's fucking people. They traded. Africans came over. They fucking traded with all that. They came across that same, because it's possible to sail from Africa to the Americas on one current or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but I know that it exists. And you're able to just do that shit with your damn near with your eyes closed. The boat will just float along it'll get you over there mad quick. They traded across.
So I have heard
over here in America, in the what we call the Americas, fully fucking populated. Fully populated, my guy. You think that it just stopped at the fucking Rio Grande at the border? You think that's where they just was like, you know what? Let's not go no further. No, man, them shits was rocking. They just tore them bitches down.
Who though?
Who? Fucking Americans.
Nah, man.
And then when they find them or whatever, because you know we got hella mounds. Like I say, we got hella mounds just in West Virginia alone. But you go out, you know what I'm saying, you know, further west where, you know what I'm saying, the lands or whatever, you got there's literally there's pyramids. Don't get fooled. There are pyramids inside the space of the United States. That's a whole nother question.
That's what I'm saying. Who?
What do you mean who built them?
Why don't we learn that?
Well, I mean, the book of Enoch talks about that. If you're talking about the
book of Enoch, we're talking about school. They're not going to the biblical right now, man.
That's not even a book in the Bible.
If I tell you right now,
in a Bible, but it's not in the you know what I'm saying,
even in the book of the Bible, who was running shit over there?
It's in the
Christian Bible.
Romans, right?
What?
Were the Romans not running shit?
No, before them.
Okay, that's
before them.
But regardless, you know,
the Greeks.
The Greeks were before the Romans.
But check this out.
Before the Greeks.
Check this out.
The Persians before the Greeks.
My nigga, but listen,
Egypt was before the Greeks.
You're arguing though. Your argument is pointless. My pointless is that's a dynasty, right?
Sure.
Yes.
How many dynasties how many has been in the U.S.? You could probably name a dynasty from every fucking continent. You got the fucking, what's the nigga that raped he's like his fuck. We just talked about this last week.
But here's
what's
the bag,
boy that was
man.
Here's
people? Here's the bag.
Marshall Musa.
They was Mansa Musa from Timbuktu.
Genghis Khan.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Over in Asia.
Okay. And
America had a different set of folk though, fam. It got raped like Africa did.
That part.
Only differently, but still the same way.
Well, you got to also think about this, like those ancient civilizations
that took place on this
Egypt,
land.
Listen, those ancient civilizations like Egypt, Babylon, Samaria, all of those, like, bro, you think they didn't build ships? You think they didn't have people?
That's cool. But what I'm saying is,
here's what I'm saying.
Who was here?
Think of how many wars were fought on this land already that we know about.
7.
Well, I mean,
maybe give or
further
take.
his point about wars, it's all conquered land. The whole world is conquered land.
And conquer the land. So usually during war, you raise the ground, damn near. And
well, it used to be. The wars we fight now are different. See, back in the day, talk about
this land here in the Americas,
they're
my
completely
guy.
Different.
Think about how many wars they fought ahead of this place even being a nation. You got like the French and Indian and blah blah blah. Them motherfuckers came through and wrecked fucking shop, my guy.
Yeah, the East Coast West Coast rap war was
motherfuckers was here. That's all I'm saying. Cats were here, and they had a different setup for how they moved information and what was considered to them media. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be what we learned were smoke signals, paintings on walls, or whatever.
Man, the earth is flat. No, I'm playing.
Man, shut up.
Man.
Anyway, back to what I was saying, Jim.
Negative.
Yeah, the way wars was handled back then is completely different than the way it is now. Because back then, we go conquer some shit. We conquering your shit. We taking over, and we taking your scientists and all of that shit. That's what they did to Russia. Now they just be like, all right, you know what?
Project Paperclip. NASA was formed by Nazi scientists. But bro, they still follow Sun Tzu, bro. You know why they still follow Sun Tzu? Because the principles are the same. It just operates in different ways.
You know why the principles are the same?
Because they work.
No, because people haven't changed. That's why you're able to write a Bible and it still relate to everyone.
That's that part.
Because people don't change. Surely their access to things may differ or what have you, but them themselves, natural human nature, does not change.
There's nothing new.
Bruce Jenner changed.
That part.
Not by much. Still the same.
Bruce Banner, Bruce Jenner, they always switching on me. Nothing's new under the sun, man. What's always been
exactly.
Here been.
And that's why Sun Tzu shit can still be used.
For sure.
That's why war tactics can still be the same, because nothing changes.
I mean, Secret Invasion is a perfect example
Oh
of
my
that.
God.
What's the best? And this, honestly, like, what's the best way to?
He's just going to spoil it for you.
I'm not going to spoil it at all. I'm not going to spoil it. It's in the name, bro.
Secret Invasion is not
episode 3.
Let me tell you this: Secret Invasion is obviously not that big of a new concept, because
exactly
what is the body snatchers?
It's Sun Tzu, bro. It's like, yo, the best way to destroy you is to infiltrate from the inside and have him destroy himself. That's why you look at a lot of the, even from the Marvel, all of that's trained.
But hell, you can find that in one of the proverbs, surely.
You can find it in politics.
You can find it in politics. Is nothing but the struggle for power.
Yeah, of course, power and money.
No, power. Money is just a substitute for.
No, money gets you the power.
I don't know, man.
But power is in and of itself.
I've seen a lot of black celebrities with money get taken down, so I don't think
it's not about money. It's about power. You're focusing on a different thing. Money is the avenue towards power. Is the thing in and of itself.
You're right.
Power is a struggle for power.
That part, because power is electricity.
I'm right about this.
Well, I mean, no, you are, because it's like power is.
You don't have to tell me. I already know.
You gonna throw that out there?
Oh my God, this guy smashing boxes.
Listen, all I know is when you have writers who come from a certain space, they're going to use most of what their personal experiences are. And so when you talk about Marvel having Christian undertones and whatnot, that's going to happen because you're talking about a Christian nation where those people are writing. If you talk about anime and manga, you know what I'm saying, those are going to have different principles and whatnot, but those are still going to start, you start seeing the similarities in all of them, how they have
that's obvious.
Their religious undertones.
That's obvious. My overall point is that there is an ultimate satanic agenda.
There's not an ultimate satanic. Listen, all right. So you mean to tell me that watching Naruto means that there's a satanic agenda?
See, and this is where the waters get muddy.
He didn't say that.
This is where the
because
waters
that's
get
what
muddy.
I was saying. Because I was saying that Naruto and its little storyline and its little universe is based, I would say, in more less than Christian ideals, and a lot of your manga and whatnot are going to do that. I said
you can't just use
your manga.
But that's
I literally just said a lot of your manga and anime are going to do that.
But hold on,
your One Pieces, your Bleaches, your fucking, you know what I'm saying?
But hold on, could you name one more except for that one?
What I just said.
You said a lot of. Could you name one more?
A few of them.
Could you name one more?
Like Pokemon.
Oh well.
Or
not
maybe
really,
Digimon, or
okay, that's cool.
or so on and so forth.
Okay, you gave us 3.
They all have like a bunch of different things that they're drawing from. Even if you talk about Dragon Ball and how it is originally in the Chinese Odyssey, you know what I'm saying, Journey to the West. You do what I'm saying? Like they all are based in their own long old tales, their stories, and their own religions and what have you. Those are based on where the writers come from. Somebody was asking me earlier, they was like, you know what I'm saying, when I was younger, there were certain kids who couldn't play with Pokemon because people said they were demonic, because it's not Christian, therefore it has to be demonic.
It's deeper than that, though. We're talking about
a cult. Hold on.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, because that's what people were saying. They were like, no, Pokemon is demonic. It's pocket monsters. Monsters are demonic because they ain't angels. They're not coming from the God. You know what I'm saying? They are, therefore, demonic. Anything that isn't Christian is demonic.
That's very surfacey, because there's lots of research out there that can be had. I've done a lot of it myself over the last 10 years, where what it all really deals with is the occult and witchcraft, and it gets very, very deep in a lot of it. Now, I'm not here to make arguments about whether Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, any of this stuff. Like, you tried to muddy the waters is what you did. Because
No,
what
I didn't.
you did, and I'll tell you why. Because the moment I mentioned that there's a satanic agenda, and I'm gonna tell you now, it's like a spider web because there's multiple layers on it. And when you're in the spider web, you don't see the levels, you don't see the layers. You got to kind of get about.
What?
You don't. You when
That
you're
was
stuck.
getting. Go ahead.
Yeah, when you're
Yeah,
stuck
yeah.
in a strand, you don't know how big the web is. Now, I just watched the spider build a fucking phenomenal web. I thought you would have liked it, actually, Spider-Man. But long story short, once you get out that web, if that's possible, who knows, then you start to really see, like, oh, damn, this shit is a lot more interconnected than I thought it was. And a lot of the avenue that it's done through is through the occult. So we look at Bohemian Grove. 1,500 of the most powerful men in the world every year, from the left, the right, pharmaceutical, military, industrial complex, all different aspects of what controls the world. And they meet in the Bohemian Grove area of San Francisco every year to do mock sacrifices to Moloch, which ironically is the same god that the Mennonites and the Canaanites worshipped in ancient Israel, ancient time. Well, it wasn't Israel, but
I
ancient.
know who Moloch is. Keep going.
Yeah, okay. So why are the most powerful men in the world still worshiping and making mock sacrifices to the same false god that the God of the Bible warned about thousands of years ago?
So are they also making sacrifices to Baal?
Of course, it's all the same. And that's
Are they all still making sacrifices to Beelzebub?
So there we go. That's my overall.
Are they all still making sacrifices
that's
to
my point.
Zoroaster?
You have, and
Are they still worshiping Zeus?
This is my point, and you can agree, you can disagree. I don't care. I'm going to make my statement.
Say the point.
You have two choices in this life. You have the God of Abraham and Isaac, the God of Abraham, Isaac,
and Jacob. Come on,
through Christ, or you have Satan.
Sure.
There's no other options. Now, under the umbrella of Satan, that's just the truth. And under the umbrella of Satan,
way.
So this is the thing. I could say, oh, well, I was raised in church. That's why I believe this. I could say, oh, this is why I believe this.
It all say this is my experience, and these are the things that have evidenced themselves to me.
Right,
it's
and those are all great.
Belief.
But all of those are moot compared to the idea that why are the most powerful men in the world controlling this world still worshiping the same?
Let me ask you this.
Gods?
Let me ask you this.
Answer that, no.
Why do you believe?
I want you to answer that
question.
question.
Men in the world,
Jimmy, let you get it out.
All right.
Why do you believe that the most powerful people in the world would be doing something that you would be able to find knowledge of?
That part.
Alex Jones busted it out in '94.
Why do you think, if they are as powerful as you say, that their secrets could truly be exposed?
I've said that for years, that the Illuminati is not the top. I agree with that 1,000%.
No, what I'm understanding is that the Illuminati, as you just spoke it, is not what the actual entity is that truly does the thing that you're afraid that the Illuminati does.
Just because we don't know the top of the secrets doesn't mean we don't.
Just because you don't know the name of the circle that it does exist. Now, I'm sure, me personally, that there is a circle of powerful people that does exist in this world that we currently live in. I'm positive that it does exist. Is it called the Illuminati?
No. I agree, because if that was the most powerful, we wouldn't know.
Whoever these people is that you just name dropped a bunch of them, and their space that they inhabit and what they do, their rituals and whatnot. Do I believe that is true? I do not.
Why not?
Because if they are who you say they are, there's no way that you would know.
So Bohemian Grove doesn't exist? It's not a thing?
That's not what he's saying. That is not what he is saying.
I'm not saying they don't
exist.
I'm saying they exist. I'm saying if they are who you say they are, there's no way you know who they are.
I just told you that I agree with you, because at the top of the secrets, it's just like a first degree, second degree, even maybe a 27th degree. But look, doesn't know what the 33rd degrees know.
But Jimmy, this is the thing though, by you saying that, you kind of just went against everything you said.
How?
Because you agree with him, and he's totally saying that. Hey,
I agree with that one point.
Ridiculous.
I agree with the point.
You just named all them people meeting in Bohemia and whatnot, and doing dances with the circle of the what's his face.
I'm gonna tell you what me
and all that,
and my white claws heard.
When I was younger,
what I heard was if P. Diddy really poisoned Jamie Foxx,
oh damn,
you wouldn't fucking know that. Why would he let that be known?
You can look up
What I heard was
you can look it up yourself.
When I was younger, I remember when Pokemon came out, people were saying, hey, you're going to get to play with Pokemon because that's demonic. And I also remember when I was even younger that they said, hey, you know what I'm saying, the Smurfs is no good because those are demons. Those are little forest demons. I heard also the same thing for He-Man, so on and so forth. It's all witchcraft, is demon this, demon that. You look it up, no bullshit. And the Smurfs are actually forest demons from like, you know what I'm saying? They're like Dutch or something like that. They're literally forest demons.
Nice.
But at the same time, the word demon and what we call demons has evolved so much over time. Just like, you know what I'm saying, fairies and pucks and, you know what I'm saying, Sagittarians, fucking minotaurs, all those things. Are those demons? Do they just exist also just as a supernatural being in and of themselves, spices and what have you? What?
That's semantics. It's just like
it's not semantics.
It is
it's
just
not
like
semantics.
The secret
That's my
history
point.
Of dinosaurs.
See, so we're diamonds. We're dinosaurs. Also demons.
No, I believe that man walked with them.
Sure, man walked with dinosaurs.
I don't believe
that's semantic.
No, it's not. I don't believe semantic. That dinosaurs died.
You just repeat the word, B. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I just learned a new word. That's semantic.
Well, and look,
that's 2 words, B.
Let me clarify what I meant a minute ago. Let me clarify what I meant a minute ago. Addison, you're right. The tip top secrets, you're right. We're not gonna be privy. We're not gonna have access to that. But Bohemian Grove, that's accessible information that you can go look up yourself.
Why are you so stuck on
Bohemian?
Is that the lead?
Bohemian Grove. Then
if we start looking at the Bohemian Grove, when we start finding answers, is that what you're trying to tell us?
No. Well, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, your Bohemian Grove is not the people that are as powerful as you're wanting to believe they are. Then, because otherwise, their information wouldn't be out there.
Have you ever heard about Bohemian Grove before I brought it up?
Jimmy, you're not paying attention to the truth.
Have you ever heard of Bohemian Grove before I brought it up?
What is power to you, Jimmy?
If you're not,
what is true power, Jimmy?
Hey, listen, if you can sit here and try to throw all these extra.
Who are the most powerful people in this world, Jimmy?
None of us
know who the most powerful people in this world are, Jimmy?
We know some of their names.
All right, you believe that you know the names of the people who are most powerful in this world.
World Economic Forum, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group.
So you're talking about
easily
accessible quantifiables like money or something?
Listen to what I'm telling you. These are the names that we know. There are obviously levels above that we don't. That's just like, it's common sense.
That's not people. Those are organizations. He's saying, who are the people that run these organizations?
Above them,
not going to be one person.
Means that what you're saying therefore becomes moot because there's people above.
Well, I mean, if you really want to know who I think it is the Roman Catholic Church for sure. I think the Vatican is above all.
I mean, they do touch a lot of boys' butts.
The Vatican is above all of that, and that kind of goes down into this.
Above all of them, Jimmy, or just a few?
I mean, ultimately, it's Satan, and he's manipulated man from the beginning.
Oh my gosh!
And he has.
So at the end of the day, Satan is the most powerful person on the planet.
He's the prince of the air, bro.
Prince of the power of the air,
the most
my
power?
guy. Satan would therefore wield a great amount of power and influence by doctrine.
All I'm saying is, I thought him and Jesus made a truce, but ever since that shit happened, it seemed like this nigga's been on a roll. He didn't create AIDS.
I stand corrected.
He didn't got niggas cutting their dicks off.
Satan is
just like
not
crazy.
Out here getting it.
You're right. Stand corrected on that part.
The power of Satan.
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Once a year. I love that. That was the best commercial I've ever heard in my life.
Shut up, Jimmy.
You shut your face.
So look, oh man, that was funny.
What?
Y'all the trip. Any last words?
I think Jimmy should go first.
I think just do, if you're willing to do the research, do so. If not, like Addison said before, it's like if it's not important for your realm, then it's not important for your realm. But at the end of the day, there are going to be things that impact you that are important to your realm. But there are going to be things that impact you that you've never even recognized are in your realm. So it's like, at the end of the day, like if I'm not taking care of my children, building my health, building my this, building my that, taking care of my individual life, whatever the Illuminati doing is irrelevant. You know what I mean? Whatever the powers may be is irrelevant. The most important aspect of all of it is to take care of my own personal life, take care of my family, take care of my community. Once I do
Boom.
those things,
Damn.
then having
But-
that research is important.
This nigga
But-
keeps going.
Those are what you think are important.
Those were my last words, Addison. So
Yeah. But I was
That
just gonna
part.
come on and say my last words and shit on you some of yours.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I'm like, people get to choose what's important to them. Everyone has different ideals. That's the literal definition of subjective. Everybody has their own separate individual and goals and what have you, and ideals and how they'll work towards those. Allow all things to exist. You know what I'm saying? Choose what's for you. But that doesn't mean that you have to diminish what exists for others. Now, you're going to. There's going to be things that you don't like, and you'll be like, no, I can't allow that exist. You know what I'm saying? Because a motherfucker show up, and he's like, I like touching little boys' butts. Hey, he's got to catch work.
What?
He's got to catch work. We got to do him in.
I'm
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't get to hang out.
pedophile.
He don't get to hang out.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That ain't it. But at the same time, let's live and let live.
Well, I mean,
So,
well,
yeah.
Well, look,
What? You already got last words.
well, this is
Little
important.
boys' butts, Jimmy.
This is
Little
important.
boy's butts, Jimmy.
So that's
God damn
that
it,
right
Jimmy.
there is a neutrality and truth. Like, it doesn't matter if you think it's
What?
right. It doesn't matter if you think it's wrong. We all know that's wrong, right?
No, Jimmy.
What?
No, Jimmy. There's people that don't believe that it's wrong to touch boys' butts.
So should we allow it?
No, Jimmy.
No.
That's what I'm saying, Jimmy. Some of us are going to disagree with that shit. There's literally people who will agree with that shit.
Why'd you try to open up a whole nother topic?
Because Jimmy was like, oh, little boys' butts. I'm very interested.
Say, hey, they brought me up. It's the sound of freedom. Man.
Yo. Oh, man.
Jimmy, did you say little boys' butts is the sound of freedom?
Nah, you don't understand.
Wow.
Shit's cut
Sounds like
deep.
you said yes.
So, my
It's
last
getting
words
deep in
would
boys'
be,
butts.
at the end of the day, regardless, said everybody's living in my simulation and none of you niggas exist.
Well, as long as I get extra lives.
You don't get extra lives, Jimmy.
How it works, dog.
You've already
You
used
don't
one of
get
yours.
extra lives. You don't even know you're
already
alive.
you've already at least used two of yours, Jimmy.
You did, and one was
One, you
trying to
got
go
shot,
back to-
and then two, you made it back from California.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah. So, I mean, Jimmy, you ain't got no more shots over the bow. The next one probably going to take you out. I can't have that. I'm going to need you to just keep your life right.
keep your life right.
I've been doing the best trying to keep mine. So, I'm going to need you to go ahead and just keep yours.
But if you
This
real,
solidifies my last word.